Thank you for the opportunity, Magno. It's a pleasure to me for me to be here and share this space with great people like you and Gabriel and Torquil. Okay, so yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Venezuela. I live now in Spain, Valencia, Spain. Been living here for the past 4 years. I've already lived in 5 countries, traveled to more than 40. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 22 years. I've launched more than 20 companies in 7 different countries. But you know what took me here and why Magnus invited me to this space is because I have been in the venture building space for the past 3 years. So from a person I got to meet in a webinar just like this, he wrote to me afterwards and said, I liked what you said and the way you said it. I want you to help me out in this project I have. So he was the CEO of a spin-off from a university here in Valencia. And he saw that there was a huge need from researchers to get business support. So once he found out that there were many researchers asking for the same, he gathered a team of people, in terms of people with different backgrounds and experiences and benefits and things that could add value to the different researchers. And we created a DeepTech Venture Builder called TRL Plus. So TRL Plus was, and I say was because we closed the company the last 2 months. So I'm in the process of launching my new venture building in the next 2 months. But I could tell you it was a wonderful experience. We were able to launch 2 companies in this 3 years period. We were almost in the process of launching 5 more companies. Some of those were going to be launched by the venture builder I'm going to launch in the next 2 months. So what we were going to do, we were just pretty much helping researchers get their projects and patents into the market. We were the business partners of those spin-off. Our business model was simple. We took a 20% equity of every spin-off we helped create. Researchers usually took at 70% equity. Universities 10% and researchers around 70%. So the other 20% was by us. What do we take care of? We took care of business development, fundraising, human resources, finances, operations, and marketing. So pretty much researchers can keep doing what they love, that is research, while we were doing all the rest. And why we were so important in this field, I can share with you some numbers. Especially from Spain, that is where I live and where I have the most information about. So Spain is the 16th largest country in the world in terms of GDP. But even though it's the 50th largest economy in the world, it's the 10th country in the world creating knowledge in terms of papers, publication, patents, and so on. But it's the 30th country in the world in terms of tech transfer. So there is a huge gap between the knowledge that is being created in universities and the knowledge that is actually being transferred to the market. Why? Because the pyramid of incentives, it's broken here in Spain. And I'm pretty sure it happens in different countries all around the world, but especially Europe. That the researchers get incentivized by publications, papers, patents, giving classes, becoming professors at university, but zero incentives for transferring their technology, zero incentives for becoming entrepreneur, and zero incentives for actually creating spin-offs out of those projects. And what happens is that there are projects, patents, papers that can actually change the world and the lives of millions of human beings, but they're stuck in drawers, in research labs, in different universities. Because, exactly what I just explained, because the researchers have zero incentives to get those projects into the market. And that's why, we created the company. And in a company like ours, we should have like not 100, 1,000 more, just like ours, only in Spain, because there's a huge need between those projects, those patents, those papers are sitting on those different research labs in universities all around Spain. It was a difficult process, yes. Why? Especially because once you start reaching out to universities, they trust you like zero. So they see you like this shark that is coming to this ocean and is trying to eat everyone, not bite, actually eat everyone. So there's a huge difference between the way of people think in universities, how the research think, how the people from the research world think, behaves, and acts, and the way we in the business world act, behave, and think. And these two worlds don't, understand each other. The times, the forms, and the budgets are totally different between these two worlds. And that's exactly what we did in TRL Plus for the past 3 years. We were able to connect this world, help them understand, do a process for like translation, and connect using buildings these two worlds. Because again, when you approach the university, when you approach the tech transfer offices, first of all, the tech transfer specialists, they think you're going to steal their job. So you're going to emphasize what they're not doing today. Because what they're doing today at the most is licensing technologies to huge corporations and getting some money for the university out of licensing those technologies. But in terms of real tech transfer and creating companies, like the job is like pretty much none. No advancement in terms of company creation for the opportunity that the university has. Then when you start talking to the researchers, it's more of the same. So they trust you zero. They think you're going to steal their idea and their patent and their project, and you're going to let them all out. So it takes time, because at the end, this is a business of people. It's a business of loyalty. It's a business of trust, and it's a very delicate process that you have to gain the confidence of those researchers until they finally believe that you're not there to steal their project or their patent, but you're there in order to help them, get that project to actually impact the life of millions of human beings. But it was very satisfying. So satisfying that even though we have some disagreements with the partners and we decided to close up the company, I'm pursuing, in my next venture to launch another venture builder, because the opportunity is huge. We are also launching a parallel venture fund that is going to invest in all the portfolio companies we're going to launch. It's going to be a 40 million euro fund. And yeah, but the experience was amazing. In my case, I've been an entrepreneur for so many years, and being able to help these researchers with all the experience I've gained in these 22 years as an entrepreneur, it was an incredible experience, so satisfying, and so interesting to be able to work with these people that are so smart, that are so capable, and that have so much to add value to the world. It is an amazing opportunity. And as Magnus said, this is going to be an interesting space. If we get some questions and doubts from you in the audience, so it's not like a one-way conversation. So I'm going to stop here, Magnus, and I would love to get some questions from the audience, or you if you want.
Yeah, so thank you so a lot, Alvaro. But yeah, if you have questions during the presentations, you just drop them in the chat, and I will make sure they are responded to. We will also end the whole thing here with a little discussion and Q&A. So there's a lot of opportunities to raise your questions. Can I just ask you, Alvaro, a couple of things about your great story, which I kind of know already, but there's some questions. When you approach universities, are you approaching the actual universities or the researchers?
No, we always have to go through the tech transfer offices.
Okay.
Why? Because if we don't do that and we go directly to the researchers, first of all, they're going to be feeling left out. Yeah. And on the other hand, they are the ones that are going to help us deal in the process of getting the university as a partner in the spin-off we're going to help create together. So if you don't gain the trust, you're not going to have a supporter inside the transfer office in the process of, you know, dealing with the partners agreement and company creation and so on. So yeah, definitely, even though we got many times we were approached directly from researchers, we always, you know, involve the tech transfer offices in the dealing process.
I guess that has to do also with the fact that most countries have the universities own the patents and the IPR. So
Exactly.
You just have to make the deal with them anyway. So I know Sweden is in this exception, but maybe we can talk about that later, maybe. Natasha,
sure.
you have a question?
Yes, you will learn by the end of this meeting my name, Nastya.
Nastya, yeah, I'll try. Sorry.
Alvaro, I completely agree with you, and I just wanted to ask some tactics. How did you build trust with universities? For example, mine is now I have enrolled myself at the master's course in my ex-university, you know, to try and refresh the relationships I already have with the professors, and I have already established great collaboration with Tech Transfer Office, but it's easy for me because it's the university that I belonged before as a student, and I know a lot of people. So how did you do that? Like, you know, coming to Valencia and just approaching people or wherever you were?
Excellent question, Asia. And yeah, I have an easy answer for your question. In our team, we were 4 partners. 2 of the partners came from the business world, and the other 2 came from the research world. So the first approach and our connection with the universities, the researchers, and the tech transfer offices were our partners that came from the research world. Why? Because they speak the same language, they have the same way of thinking, and they, you know, it's easier for them to create that trust. And the second way, Nasya, was about time, was about being there, showing up, going to every event they invited us. This is not like a, you know, a 0-1 sum, and you have to just be there, showing up. And as I mentioned, you know, this is a business about people, and creating that confidence and trust and loyalty with the people. It takes time. It takes many coffees. It takes some lunch. It takes many meetings, and you know, it's a matter of time that at the end they will trust you.
Great. I had a similar kind of question, maybe, but I had always this feeling that you probably have to work with one specific university and not with many, because of the same reason. You know, there is some kind of competition, I guess, also between the universities. So maybe in order to build trust, you should probably focus on one. Is that a reasonable idea?
Not really. First of all, because if you only focus on one, you're lefting out many verticals within technology. Second of all, in our case, that we were trying to work with medium and large size corporations, helping them with their open innovation challenges, it's very difficult to find solutions for those challenges if you only focus on one university. And I can give you another example. The second spin-off we created, it was the first spin-off in the history of Valencia that had both universities in the company. So, and it was very difficult. It took us 2 years to finally being able to launch the spin-off. It took us, just to give you a story, it took us 2 months to get the deans of both universities to agree where we were going to sign the creation of the companies. 2 months. Because the first University of Valencia, is a more than 500-year-old university. University Polytechnic of Valencia is like a more recent one. And, you know, everybody wants to, you know, put the medal on their badge, on their chest. And you know, it was a process. And if, you know, going back to your question, if we decided just to work with one university, we will be left out of this spin-off we upgrade.
Do we have any more questions before we continue?
Yeah, maybe one. How do you collaborate with corporations? Because of course you can actually speed up the commercial tryouts if you partner with corporations as well.
Exactly, Gabriele. Yeah, thank you for your question. So the idea was, again, what I mentioned, there is a huge difference in the way the corporation thinks, acts, speaks, the budget it has, the form that it wants the project, and the way it wants to receive the projects. You know, usually when the projects are in a TRL 6, 7, everybody wants to be there. The problem is when the projects are between TRL 3, 4, 5. And that's especially where we were adding value. You know, getting those projects into being ready to start testing with the different corporations. So we were able to, for one, get, you know, a better knowledge of the problem, the challenge that the corporation had, go to the different universities and see and find out the different solutions that research group were investigating in, going back to the university and say, well, we have 3 or 4 research groups that are, you know, are in this level of research and of a solution for your challenge. And then we help in the whole process of getting that project to actually become a final and definite solution for that university and for that company. And on the other hand, we were able to help them source and clean all the researchers that approach. Usually there are some that, you know, take the chance to approach big corporations, but they're not ready because of the technology is not so ready and because they don't understand at all the business world. They just think that there is a public institution that you can ask for 1 million euros as a grant, and the big, large corporation is going to write a check, and then, yeah, just go research, stay researching for the next 6 years, no problem whatsoever. So that's where we were adding value on both sides, getting the projects into the companies and helping those companies, you know, source those different projects that, you know, reach to them directly, or, you know, we took them to the different companies.
And that explains how I found Alvaro's actually, because in DeepTech Alliance, where we already have the corporates, they're ready and we know what they're looking for from around the world. In our programs, we need to find the absolutely best European companies to meet. And I think personally, and that's why I've been driving this in the Alliance, that the venture builders plays a very important role there, because we are all deep tech. It's only about the difficult stuff. And since we get too little directly out of universities, I think venture building is a very important kind of tool here. Any more questions, or should we continue? We can have questions afterwards. Thank you so much, Alvaro.